so we can miss a certain mark, right? To where, oh yeah, they ain't get it. We still got time to do our dirty works, our technology works, and contaminate or set a certain or set a certain or create a certain environment to where the environment will appeal to their lower selves regarding those who are in their lower selves in society, to feed them lower appetites only for them to eventually end up destroying themselves, where they can take their hands and be like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You made the choices to participate in the things that you participated in that was appealing to your lower self and not your higher self. So, for instance, the master teacher, Padre Bab Yanun, right, came and set the record straight for us to be a part of a plan that will be a solution to our well-being through becoming mentalists, to where we maximize our development mentally in ways to where we will be in control of our own minds, free from certain external mind control that is not in our best self-interest. So by we doing things in our best self-interest in a world where the evil one said, I'm gonna make what's wrong look right and what's right look wrong. So by us trying to be, or by us taking the initiative to be in our right minds, to a lot of our brothers and sisters who got the willy chip in their head, look at us like we out our minds. This is the real world we living in. You know what I'm saying? Or even certain powers that be don't want to give us credit to where credit is due, to try to make it seem like we crazy. Now, let's make this make sense. Now, these certain paragraphs that I'm finna go into is from sources of people who trying to make sense out of real history or the recording of past events that actually took place in real life on the planet. For us here in the now to perceive when we get read the information, right? We would see what it's talking about dealing with the past, present, and future. Now, when it comes to our sound doctrine, right knowledge, though, regarding the past, present, and future, we seeing things through the lens on a spiritual level, regarding the spiritual plane, from spiritual eyes through the reformer of this era and time we living in. The reformer, where our minds is a part of the reformation to put us in our right minds through right knowledge. Now, mind you, right? It's this particular individual who said, if we understand the mechanisms and motives of the group mind, it is now possible to control and regiment the masses according to our will without them even knowing it. So who is behind the scenes want to manipulate our wills without us even knowing it? Now, mind you, when I don't consent to something, that means I am not going along with that or accepting that, right? Now, hold on. Let me resume here. Let this play out right quick. I am not going on along with that, right? Or I don't consent to anything that's against my will, right?
Building your online business?
They still running these
and set up your store on a single integrated
commercials
platform.
on here, but we gonna resume, right?
Add
The home chain synchronized
them dynamically
with my words of enlightenment.
Track your inventory. Accept multiple.
Okay, beautiful. Now, man, back to what I was saying. Now, my will to not consent to anything that I don't want to consent to that is not kosher for me is not going to happen. But yet, you don't infringe upon other people's will. I'm smart and mature enough and responsible enough to know that, to where I know that when I do something, I'm going to be held accountable for my actions as a grown man in the face of the law. I am innocent. I am not guilty of anything. I am innocent. So, yet, there are forces who want to control our wills without us even knowing it. Right? Now, this reading go into detail about talking about, firstly, please do not believe anything written in this book to be true. Like the master teacher be telling us, right? Don't believe me. Check it out. Don't believe me. Check it out. Now, research for yourself what you find to be truthful or not, using your own discernment and judgment. Now, we have our own discernment and judgment. Don't let that be clouded as well through your mind being cluttered with junk that don't have no relevant substance to it, that keep your mind clear and in proper order, right? Research for yourself what you find to be truthful or not, using your own discernment and judgment. Secondly, assume nothing to be true. The ancients had a term called tabula rasa, which means to start anew with a fresh, open mind where everything and anything is possible. Now, I can agree with that because the master teacher, the reformer, told us, he was like, look, in this age that we living in, don't doubt nothing. Anything is possible. So that can be corroborated based on, so this can be corroborated based on what he said, which is actual fact. And by me having a good discernment of spirit myself, right, I can tell it got that ring of truth to it. Secondly, assume nothing to be true. The ancients had a term called tabula rasa, which means to start anew with a fresh, open mind, where everything and anything is possible. Now, going to the New World Order. The New World Order, I call those that eliminated the history of the old world order. Stop right there. We're going to take our time and walk through things, right? Now, I'm here to reason with you. Let's make things make sense. Because after all, a lot of what's going on around us don't make sense because ain't that much human error in the world. Even though, like the Holy Quran was saying, surely man is in loss or man is in error. But what men and women is not in loss? What men and women is not in error? That's who we want to connect with. Those who are free from the thinking of being in error, which is why right knowledge makes so much sense. Right knowledge is here to set the record straight through the reformer, the master teacher, right? To where what right knowledge does, it puts the mind in proper order and sequence. Now let's make this make sense, right? The New World Order, I call those that eliminated the history of the old world order. Now, you got the New World Order, NWO. Then you got the old world order, OWO. Now I'm gonna share that again. The New World Order, I call those that eliminated the history of the old world order. So who was the people of that old world order time? And who was these modern people of this new world order time who are responsible for erasing the information, or who are responsible for erasing the history of the old world order? Now, who is the people of the old world order and who is the people of the new world order? So, are these people so when we add that up mathematically, these people are in disagreement to one another in light of what this is saying. So that's telling me a war is going on. It has to be, because these people of the old world order, now mind you, when we talk about the old world, we're talking about ancient ones. Now we know for a fact we connected to the ancient ones. So due to certain inquisitions that have taken place, where through the Roman Catholic Church authorizing what they call some kind of papal bulls, or what they call a doctrine called the Doctrine of Discovery, Unum Sanctum Doctrine of Discovery, something like that, right? Y'all can check that out. Look it up for yourselves. You can look it up to where the ancient ones, history has been erased, or so they thought it was erased, but it wasn't completely erased, to the point where some of the information that these forces erased or destroyed or locked away in certain chambers to keep to themselves for certain scientific reasons, to study the ancient ones or the ancient of days, to the point where the little amount of time that was allotted to them in that particular vacuum that they was in, to do certain works that they have done, such as this elimination of certain history of the old world. Okay, hold on, that takes me here. I'm gonna go get something. Now, with that said, right, this new world order can never ever do away with the old world order, because by us going through a certain prophecy to come out with a great substance only serves as a continuation of the original man's civilization to prosper and stay prosperous. Now, mind you, now this goes on to read, right? The old world order. Now, to make this connect, right? The new world order, I call those that eliminated the history of the old world order, OWO, the old world order, right? Who is the people of that old world order that these people try to erase again? Now, this information calls these people Tartarians. Tartarians use the one symbol frequency. This is because they say that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So here we are. A lot of conscious brothers and sisters and people waking up all over the world with activated third eyes. It's becoming pretty much the new leadership on the planet, because old paradigms, like that's a product of the 6,000 year rule, and particularly the Caucasian race, to certain calendar dates, like in 1914 to the year 2000, that rule has ended. So, regarding this saying here about in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So for a lot of us with activated pineal glands. We have to recognize our position of power as thought leaders in this modern time that we are living in, connected to the ancient ones. Now they call themselves, as far as like the New World Order, people who was responsible for doing damage to certain information that they thought that they was going to be able to control through something they did called information control, to where certain information has been under their control, that they still in certain circles hold secrets in certain institutions or secret societies or what have you. But when it comes to the light of the sun, you can't stop it from shining, baby. When a time has come, a time has come. And it's a beautiful thing to be on the right side of the mental evolution that should take place in these dimensional shifts that we find ourselves in right now. Now this continue to read, right? Okay, now this say that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man or woman is king. So what conscious men and women is coming together as power couples to release a certain consciousness in ourselves and in our environment to affect the ethers in the environment a certain way that generate a certain frequency of illumination, light, and love without, like what they say, elements of the dark priesthoods who want to taint that unified energy field of the man and woman tapping into each other like soulmates. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us enlightened men and women, we have to get together and become inseparable and be the electricity that we supposed to illuminate, tapping into our potential, because us being together as a unified energy field couple is a sign of real life that enables us to tap into certain potential without us being distracted by the trick knowledge of this world of divisiveness. Like through certain religions that breed ignorance, we have to question these religions and set our mind free. We're about freedom today. Now this goes on to read, right? The two eyes represent a subjective and objective viewpoint. So they cover up the subject to just look at the world objectively in cold calculating terms. Right? In the 1920s, Edward Bernays was under the employment of Nelson Rockefeller, one of the wealthiest men in the world at the time. Rockefeller founded the modern day school system and owned the school textbook companies as well. Now listen to that. This is history of who owns what and why the school system textbooks are the way that they are. Rockefeller founded the modern day school system and owned the school textbook companies as well. So through that source of information control by these textbook companies, where they want to control the narratives of whatever information came out of that, was to have an impact a certain way, which would constitute certain one-dimensional programming to serve their agendas. Now, we come to this other perspective talking about digitalization. Digitalization. Now, what is digitalization? What am I getting at? The information is trying to enlighten us regarding a term called the modern day burning of Alexandria. Remember in Egypt, the Library of Alexandria, where a lot of knowledge was destroyed that the planet could have benefited from? But yet it's said that the information in the Library of Alexandria in Egypt was destroyed or burned up. Now, what do they mean by this modern day burning of Alexandria? Wait a minute, let me backtrack a minute. Now, remember when I was talking about when it said the New World Order? I called those the New World Order. I call those that eliminated the history of the Old World Order. Now, the history of the Old World Order was never totally erased. That's why certain mind manipulators know the mind can be deceived. So when you put something out there, the mind works in a way to where if your mind is not rooted in certain facts and certain things you take in that you will believe to be true that is not based on facts at all, large portions of society believe these type of things. That's why they said it here, in a land full of blind eyes. The man with an activated third eye, or a woman with an activated third eye, is king and queen. So why certain forces want to oppress or suppress men and women who make sense of the times that we living in, such as like you and me who listening to this enlightening transmission, or this transmission that's geared toward, let's just make sense of what's going on. Let's just make it make sense, okay? That this communication is to be is to be downplayed like it's insignificant or unimportant. You know what I'm saying? Or something to be brushed off as something as like it's frivolous conjecturing or something. When the tone that I'm communicating from is rooted in the universe. Because remember when I had mentioned we are living in a universe of truth where falsehood is to be pushed out of it. So by me speaking the truth, I am speaking the language of our universe. Now, I want to go back here, right? Talking about the old world order. Wait a minute. Let's go here. Regarding the old world order. Now, regarding certain archaeological finds, date back as far as 1300 BC before Christ, right? And are of the ancient natural people of southwest of Mexico. Wait a minute. Ancient natural people. Notice the key word. Keywords. Ancient natural peoples. Now, why would someone want to wipe out the history of an old world order of ancient natural peoples to where we have a lot of school intelligence, or like for instance when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, right, enunciated about a term called how Satan, in a manifestation of the flesh of people who utilize deceptive intelligence to rationalize disobedience to God. Now, the New World Order people, what nationality are these people? Who is responsible for the destruction of what they call the Old World Order history? Now, that's a telltale sign right there. Like, wait a minute. They wrong for that. We all have a right to life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. And these modern terms, right? Those terms apply to the ancient world as well, that we all is connected with. Everything is connected, which is a actual fact. Everything in existence is connected, and everything has a food chain. But yet, don't become being victimized by cannibalism at the same time as a natural person.